I never imagined that love could be both a blessing and a curse. When I married Chinedu, I thought I had found my safe haven, a man who would love me beyond words, a man who would protect me. But I had no idea that love, sometimes, can feel like a prison. Chinedu was a hardworking man, a trader at Alaba Market, known for his strength, resilience, and generosity. But there was one thing: he lacked education. He could barely read or write, yet he had built a successful electronics business with nothing but sheer determination. I, on the other hand, was a graduate, a teacher with a passion for literature and education. I loved books, and I dreamed of a life where my husband and I could sit together at night, reading and discussing ideas. But I ignored the warnings. How will you communicate? What if he feels insecure? I waved them off because love, I believed, was enough. But I was wrong. The first crack in our marriage appeared the day I received a letter from the Ministry of Education. I had been promoted a rare opportunity to work with an international NGO that advocated for education in rural communities. It was my dream job, one that would take me across different states, training teachers and helping young girls stay in school. I rushed home that evening, excitement bubbling in my chest. Chinedu. Chinedu. They gave me the job, I exclaimed, holding the letter in my hands. He looked at me blankly, his brows furrowing. Which job? He asked, his voice flat. I swallowed, suddenly feeling uneasy. The NGO job, remember, the one I told you about. They accepted me. Silence. Then, he snatched the letter from my hands, staring at it as if the words would rearrange themselves for him. He turned it upside down, his hands tightening around the paper. And then, in a voice so low it sent chills down my spine, he asked, "What is inside this letter?" I hesitated. "It says I got the job, and they want me to start next month." "You mean, you will be traveling? Leaving this house? Leaving me?" "Not leaving, Chinedu. Just traveling for work." "You want to disgrace me?" His voice rose. "You want people to say I married a woman who is flying up and down, leaving her husband behind?" I gasped. "Chinedu, it's not like that. This is my career, my future. It doesn't change anything between us." But he wasn't listening. His hands clenched into fists, his breathing grew heavy, and in his eyes, I saw something I had never seen before: rage mixed with shame. It was in that moment I realized the truth I had been avoiding. My husband loved me, but he resented my education. And that night, as I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, I knew my marriage had just stepped into dangerous waters. The tension in our home was like an invisible storm, silent, yet heavy. Chinedu barely spoke to me after our argument about the NGO job. When he did, his words were cold, distant. Days turned into weeks, and I felt like a stranger in my own marriage. The love that once made my heart race now felt like a chain around my neck, tightening with every passing second. One evening, I decided to try again. "Chinedu, please, let's talk." He was sitting outside, drinking palm wine, his eyes fixed on the darkness beyond our compound. He didn't respond. I knelt beside him, placing my hand on his lap. "I love you, Chinedu. This job won't change that." He let out a bitter chuckle. "You love me, but you want to fly around like a bird, leaving me behind. One will always come back home. That is what city women say before they forget their husbands," he snapped, turning to face me. "You think I don't know? You will start traveling, meeting big men with good English. Before I know it, you will start looking at me like I am nothing." His words stung. "Chinedu, you are my husband. Then act like it." His voice was sharp now. "A good wife stays with her husband, not running around the country pretending to be a big woman." Tears welled in my eyes. I had never felt so helpless. "So you want me to stay home, abandon my dreams?" He was quiet for a long time, then he said something that shattered me completely. "If your dreams don't fit into this marriage, then maybe you should choose your job or your husband." A lump formed in my throat. I stared at the man I had loved so deeply, and for the first time, I wondered, had I made a mistake marrying him? But before I could speak, he stood up, his face hard. "I won't let you disgrace me. This marriage will not turn me into a joke." And with that, he walked into the house, slamming the door behind him. I sat there, feeling my world crumble. For the first time in my life, I realized that love alone was not enough. That night, I barely slept. Chinedu's words echoed in my head, forcing me to confront a painful reality. He was giving me an ultimatum. My dreams or my marriage. The next morning, I woke up determined to fight for both. I refused to believe that the man I loved could be my greatest obstacle. I prepared his favorite meal, yam porridge with dried fish, hoping food would soften his heart. When he sat down to eat, I placed the plate in front of him and sat beside him. "Chinedu, please, just listen to me." He didn't look at me. Instead, he scooped a spoonful of yam into his mouth, chewing slowly, as if my words were wind. I married you because I love you, I continued. Not because of school, not because of English. Just you. But this job, it's my passion. It's what I've worked for all my life. Please, don't make me choose. He dropped his spoon and finally looked at me. Do you know why I never went to school? I shook my head, surprised at the question. Because life did not give me the chance. His voice was rough with emotion. I was the first son. When my father died, I had to take care of my mother and my siblings. There was no money for school, so I entered the market and started selling electronics. I built everything I have with my bare hands, with sweat and suffering. And now, my own wife wants to make me feel like a fool in my own house. I reached for his hand, but he pulled away. Chinedu, I don't see you as a fool. But you will, he cut in sharply. One day, you will. You will stand among your educated colleagues, speaking big English, and I will just be the illiterate husband who cannot even read the messages on his phone. Tears rolled down my cheeks. I will never see you that way. You are the strongest man I know, and if you want, I can teach you. He stood up abruptly, knocking over the plate of food. The yam splattered on the floor, but I was too stunned to care. Teach me. His voice was dangerously low. You want to sit me down like a child and teach me A, B, C. I shook my head desperately. No, I didn't mean it like that. You think I don't hear how people talk. You think I don't know that in your heart, you wish you married someone like you. A university man, not a trader like me. That's not true, Chinedu, I cried. But he wasn't listening. He picked up his car keys and stormed out of the house, slamming the door so hard that the walls trembled. I fell to my knees, my heart shattering into pieces. Was this the beginning of the end? I sat on the cold floor for what felt like hours, staring at the spilled food, my tears mixing with the pain in my heart. Chinedu had left in anger, and I had no idea where he had gone. I wanted to call him, but I knew he wouldn't answer. My husband was a man of pride. When he felt disrespected, he built walls around himself, shutting me out completely. But how did we get here? How did love turn into resentment? By midnight, he still hadn't returned. I paced around the living room, biting my nails in worry. Chinedu was not a man who stayed out late. Just as I was about to call his friend, the sound of the gate creaking open sent a wave of relief through me. I rushed to the door and saw him stumbling inside, his steps unsteady. My heart dropped. Chinedu, are you drunk? I whispered. He didn't answer. His eyes were bloodshot, and the smell of alcohol filled the air. Where have you been? I tried to hold his arm, but he pulled away, staggering past me. I went to clear my head, he muttered. By drinking. He turned and looked at me with glassy eyes. A man should drink when his wife makes him feel small. His words hit me like a slap. Is that really how you see me, Chinedu? As someone who wants to make you feel small? He chuckled bitterly, shaking his head. It doesn't matter. None of it matters anymore. What are you talking about? I asked, my voice trembling. He dropped onto the couch, staring at the ceiling. And then he said something that made my heart stop. I went to see Mama. I froze. Your mother? Yes. She said she warned me about you. She said an educated woman will always think she's better than her husband. She said a woman like you will never respect me. He let out a dry laugh. She was right. Tears stung my eyes. So, what now, Chinedu? You want to listen to her? You want to throw away everything we built because of what other people say? He closed his eyes and sighed. I just want peace. Peace. My voice broke. Chinedu, we can fix this. We can make this work. But when he opened his eyes, I saw something in them that sent a chill through me. Resignation. Go to your job, he said quietly. Do whatever makes you happy. My breath caught in my throat. Are you saying? I'm saying do what you want, Amarachi. I don't care anymore. And with that, he turned his back to me, shutting me out completely. That night, I lay awake beside him, feeling like I was sleeping next to a stranger. The man I loved was slipping away, and I didn't know how to hold on. The days that followed felt like a slow death. Chinedu and I lived under the same roof, but we were no longer husband and wife, just two strangers forced to share a space. He stopped speaking to me unless necessary. If I greeted him in the morning, he responded with a nod. If I cooked, he ate in silence. At night, he turned his back to me. I was losing him, and I didn't know how to save us. Then, one afternoon, everything changed. I was in the bedroom, packing my bag for a meeting when I heard voices from the living room. Amarachi is not a small girl. She knows what she's doing. I froze. It was Mama Chinedu, his mother. My heart pounded as I stepped closer to the door. Mama, please. I don't want to talk about this. Chinedu's voice sounded exhausted. Why won't you talk about it? Don't you see what she's doing? A woman who truly loves her husband will not put career over marriage. Tears stung my eyes. Mama, she's not leaving me, he sighed. Not yet, she snapped. Today it's work, tomorrow it will be I need space, then before you know it, she's gone. That is how these educated women behave. If you don't stop her now, you will wake up one day and realize you were just a stepping stone. I clutched my chest. Did she really think I was using her son? Mama, enough, Chinedu said. This is my marriage. I will handle it. There was silence. Then she spoke again, her voice lower, more dangerous. Are you a man, Chinedu? What kind of question is that? He asked, irritated. Then act like it. A man is the head of the house. If she refuses to respect you, make her respect you. A chill ran down my spine. Mama, I will not force my wife to do anything, he said firmly. I felt a tiny flicker of hope. Maybe, just maybe, he still believed in us. You are too soft, my son, she sighed. That is why she walks over you. A woman needs to know her place. And if she forgets, you must remind her. That night, I expected Chinedu to confront me. But he didn't. Instead, he returned to his usual silence. But something was different. His presence felt heavier. His glances were colder. And when he finally spoke to me the next morning, it wasn't with anger, but with something far worse. A warning. If you go for that job, Amarachi, don't come back. My world shattered. His words hit me like thunder. If you go for that job, Amarachi, don't come back. I stood frozen in the doorway, my heart pounding against my chest. I had always feared that our marriage was heading towards destruction, but hearing it from Chinedu's own mouth felt like a dagger to my soul. What did you just say? I whispered, my voice shaking. He didn't look at me. He was staring at the floor, his hands clenched into fists. You heard me, he muttered. I felt my knees go weak. You mean to tell me that because I want to work, because I want to build a future for myself, you're willing to throw away our marriage? He let out a bitter chuckle. What marriage? He asked, finally meeting my gaze. A marriage where my wife looks down on me. A marriage where I have to compete with her career for respect. Tears welled in my eyes. I have never looked down on you, Chinedu. I have never disrespected you. But you will, he said coldly. One day, you will. I took a shaky step forward. Chinedu, don't do this. I love you. Then prove it. His voice was suddenly calm, too calm. Stay. Forget this job. Be my wife, the way a wife should be. I swallowed the lump in my throat. You're asking me to give up everything I've worked for. And I have given up everything for you, he shouted. You think I don't see how you feel embarrassed when I struggle to read? You think I don't hear the way your colleagues talk, the way they pity you for marrying an uneducated man? He shook his head. I won't let you disgrace me, Amarachi. I wiped my tears, my chest rising and falling rapidly. So this is it? I whispered. He didn't answer. He just turned around and walked away, leaving me standing in the middle of the living room, drowning in my pain. That night, I packed my bags. With every folded piece of clothing, every item placed into my suitcase, my heart shattered a little more. I was choosing myself for the first time in my life, but why did it feel like I was also losing everything? Just as I was about to close my suitcase, I heard his voice behind me. So, you've made your choice. I turned to face him, my vision blurred with tears. I never wanted to choose, Chinedu. But you forced me to. He nodded slowly, his jaw tightening. Then don't ever come back. And just like that, the man I had loved with all my heart became a stranger. As I walked out of our home, I didn't look back. Because I knew if I did, I might break completely. The cold night air hit my face as I stepped out of the house, my suitcase rolling behind me. My heart felt like a stone in my chest, heavy and unmovable. I had always imagined leaving home for something greater, but never like this. Never with my heart breaking into pieces. As I approached the gate, I hesitated for a brief second, hoping, praying that Chinedu would call me back. That he would stop me. That he would fight for us. But he didn't. I turned back one last time. He was standing in the doorway, arms crossed, his face as hard as the walls between us. Tears burned my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. Goodbye, Chinedu, I whispered. He didn't say a word. With a deep breath, I pulled open the gate and stepped into the night, walking away from the man I had once given my heart to. I arrived at my friend Ifeoma's house late that night. She opened the door, her eyes widening as she took in my face. Amarachi, what happened? She gasped. I tried to answer, but the words got stuck in my throat. Instead, I broke down, sobbing into her arms like a lost child. She held me tightly, rubbing my back. It's okay, my sister. You are not alone. But I felt alone. I had lost my home. I had lost my husband. And worst of all, I had lost the love we once shared. The next few days passed in a blur. I threw myself into work, traveling across states, meeting new people, and doing what I loved. But no matter how busy I kept myself, I couldn't escape the pain in my heart. I couldn't escape the memories of Chinedu, his laughter, his touch, the way he used to look at me like I was the only woman in the world. Had I made the right choice? Had I sacrificed love for ambition? Or had he pushed me away because of his own insecurities? I had no answers. All I knew was that, for the first time in my life, I was walking a path I had never imagined. A path without Chinedu. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. I threw myself into work, traveling from one rural community to another, helping young girls stay in school. It was fulfilling, it was everything I had ever dreamed of. But at night, when the world grew quiet, my heart ached for Chinedu. I wanted to call him. I wanted to know if he was okay, if he missed me. But I was too afraid. Afraid that he had moved on. Afraid that I had truly lost him. One evening, as I returned to my hotel room from a conference, I received a message from my younger sister, Ada. Amarachi, you need to come home. My heart skipped a beat. What's wrong? I typed back. Her response came immediately. It's Chinedu. He's not okay. I felt my hands tremble as I clutched my phone. What happened? Ada hesitated before replying. He has changed, Amarachi. He barely goes to his shop anymore. He drinks every night. He looks like a man who has lost everything. My chest tightened. Have you spoken to him? I asked. Yes, she replied. I tried, but he just told me to leave him alone. Amarachi, I know you're hurt, but I think he regrets everything. I swallowed hard, my heart pounding. Did Chinedu regret pushing me away? Did I still have a home to return to? I didn't know. But at that moment, I knew one thing for sure, I needed to see him. I booked the next available flight. I was going home. The journey back home felt longer than ever. As the plane landed, my chest tightened with anxiety. I wasn't sure what to expect. Would Chinedu even want to see me? Had too much time passed. I took a deep breath as I stepped out of the airport and hailed a cab to my family's house. Ada was waiting for me outside, her face filled with worry. You came, she whispered as she hugged me tightly. I had to, I murmured, pulling back. Where is he? She sighed. At home. Alone. He barely talks to anyone these days. Amarachi, he's not the same. My heart clenched. Take me to him. When we arrived at Chinedu's house, our house, I hesitated at the gate. Memories came rushing back, flooding me with pain. I used to walk through this gate as his wife. Now, I was just someone from his past. Taking a deep breath, I pushed the gate open and stepped inside. The house was quiet. Too quiet. I knocked on the door. No answer. I knocked again, louder this time. Finally, the door creaked open. And there he was. My breath caught in my throat. Chinedu looked different, thinner, tired, almost like a ghost of the man I once knew. His beard was unkempt, his eyes sunken. He stared at me in shock, as if he wasn't sure if I was real. Amorochi. His voice was hoarse. I swallowed hard. Hi, Chinedu. Silence. A long, painful silence. Then, he looked away and let out a bitter chuckle. So, you came back. I heard you weren't okay. He scoffed. And you care? My heart squeezed. Of course, I care. He shook his head, stepping back. You left, Amorochi. You left and never looked back. Tears welled in my eyes. You told me not to come back. And you listened. His voice broke, filled with pain. You didn't even fight for us, I gasped. Fight. Chinedu, I begged you to see reason. I begged you to understand. He exhaled sharply, rubbing his face. I know. His voice was quieter now. I know, Amorochi. For the first time since I arrived, his eyes softened. And in them, I saw something that shattered me completely. Regret. I was wrong, he whispered. I was so wrong. Tears slipped down my cheeks. Chinedu. He reached out, as if to touch me, but then stopped himself. His hand dropped to his side. It's too late, isn't it? He asked. I didn't know how to answer. Because deep down, I wasn't sure either. Chinedu's words hung between us like a heavy cloud. It's too late, isn't it? I wanted to say no. I wanted to tell him that we could fix this, that love could still find a way. But I wasn't sure if I believed that anymore. I wiped my tears and took a shaky breath. Chinedu. I never wanted to leave you. He looked down, his fingers tightening into a fist. But you did. Because you pushed me away. My voice cracked. You made me choose between my dreams and my marriage. He let out a deep sigh and stepped out of the doorway, finally facing me fully. I was afraid, Amorochi, he admitted. His voice was raw, broken. I didn't know how to be the kind of man you deserved. I thought, if I controlled you, if I kept you from your dreams, I wouldn't lose you. My heart ached. But you lost me anyway. He nodded slowly, his eyes glassy with unshed tears. And it destroyed me. A lump formed in my throat. This was the moment I had imagined for months, him admitting his mistakes, acknowledging his fears. But instead of feeling relief, I felt something else. Pain. Because love should never have to be a war between the heart and the soul. I reached for his hand, and for the first time in so long, he didn't pull away. Our fingers intertwined, a familiar warmth passing between us. Do you hate me? He asked suddenly. My lips trembled. I could never hate you, Chinedu. I loved you too much for that. Loved. He whispered the word like it had to say. Silence stretched between us. Finally, I pulled my hand away. Chinedu. I don't know if we can go back to the way things were. His face crumbled for a brief second before he masked it with a weak smile. I understand. Do you? I asked softly. I do, he nodded. But I also know that I will regret this for the rest of my life. A tear slipped down my cheek. So will I. For the first time since I walked away months ago, I realized something. Sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes, no matter how much two people care for each other, life has already pulled them too far apart. And maybe this was our fate. Two people who loved each other, but couldn't find their way back. I took a deep breath and stepped back. Goodbye, Chinedu. This time, he didn't stop me. And as I walked away for the second time, I knew this was the last. Thanks for watching this video and share your opinion and let me know the lesson you learned in this video in the comment sections and please put down your location. Please kindly subscribe to my channel, like this video and turn on your notifications bell to be notified of interesting and captivating videos, and don't forget to share the video with your friends and families if you are motivated and inspired by it. Bye for now and see you in my next video.